So happy to have all of you join us this week for this terrific conversation with Irina Strunina. She is the founder of Smart Move 360, inspired by her own journey through her husband's experience after his diagnosis and following illness with diabetes. She now is passionate about helping patients and their families recognize how lifestyle changes can turn things around and inspire hope rather than resigning themselves to live with this disease. Thanks for joining us. I know you're going to love this episode, and check out the show notes for information on how you can connect with Irina and follow her group on Facebook, Smart Move 360, and any breaking developments will be updated there for you whenever you tune in. Enjoy. Living in a stressful world doesn't mean you have to give up on happiness. Instead, you can shift your perspective of stress and discover how to live your life in flow. Welcome to Happified. I'm your host, Susie Vine. Join me for inspiration and interviews with folks who are shining their light in the world in the areas of positive mindset, health, and wellness. I'm so happy to have you here. Hey there, friends. Are you looking for tools to resolve stress? Reliable information to support your whole health? Tips to help you motivate yourself and identify when motivation is fading before it happens? Implementation, accountability, and someone to remind you to celebrate even the small successes. Where you could find tools you can use and accountability in a community that cheers you on. Where information about health trends and lifestyle is reliable and straightforward. I know that you have what it takes to up-level your health habits and restore your resilience. You just might need a boost to start building momentum. I've designed a membership where you can choose the level of support you'd like to get every month, whether it's tuning in to connect with like-minded change makers or getting personalized support with one-on-one coaching to help you chart your path to success. Check out the link for the Velocity membership at happifiedlife.com. Special pre-launch pricing is now available for premium support, but you can jump in for free if you just want to test the waters. I look forward to seeing you inside. Welcome back. I'm so happy to have everyone here with us this week while I welcome Irina Strunina. We have met and shared a lot in common in our passion to help people recognize that they can make big changes to their health through lifestyle modifications. And Irina is passionate about helping people who have recently been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. This comes from a very personal mission since she lived this experience when her own husband had this diagnosis, and she did her own research to discover ways to help him feel better without relying only on Western medicine. In the time since, she has created Smart Move 360 to help those facing new diagnoses find a way that will work with their particular situation so they can feel better without dramatic changes in their lifestyle. So she has a couple of events coming up. We are going to talk about those, but first I would love to welcome Irina. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello. Hello, Susie. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here too. I love that virtually now we can meet across country, and Atlanta, Georgia is certainly feeling a little bit more of the fall weather than we are here in San Diego, but hopefully the weather will permit without too many interruptions for us today.
Yes, yes.
So tell us a little bit about your own story. How long ago was this experience when your husband had this diagnosis?
Well, it was a while ago. So in 2003, he got diagnosed. And then for 12 years, well, literally for 10 years, we were managing more or less his condition. It was there were ups and downs, but we were able to control it. And but then, because the diabetes is a disease that affects also your immune system, he contracted the flu on one of the flu seasons, and it really hit him hard. And as a result of it, he had kidney complications and some other issues that he had. And it's from there, in about year and a half, it was like snowball going down the hill real fast. And eventually he passed away. So it was 5 years ago.
So you went through quite a journey since his diagnosis, and it's so true, unfortunately, that in these types of autoimmune disorders, when the body starts to dysfunction, that then we're so much more susceptible to little innocuous things. Well, the flu isn't innocuous. Viruses, especially in this year, we recognize they can have a huge impact. But when the stage has already been set, it can be even more devastating when these things start to affect our body systems. So I'm sorry for that process, but I am glad that you found a way to move forward with your mission from that whole experience and bring that out to a wider audience, because I really feel we need to be more empowered in recognizing how we can make small changes that have huge effects downline.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So what were some of the first things that you found? And in 2003, I mean, Google was around, but it was not as robust as it is now. You certainly didn't get to just spend some days online and have everything at your fingertips. So this was quite an education process as well.
Oh yes, oh yes, and this is actually the reason why I am right now offering help to people who were recently diagnosed with diabetes, because I understand those who are so-called veterans. They already had quite a time to learn, to visit with doctors, to explore their body's ability to cope with different irritants and different, food choices, lifestyle choices, and everything. They know what works for them, what not. There is still always plenty to learn, but for those who are new, this is a lot to learn in a very short period of time. This is just generally speaking, but in addition to it, there are so many volunteers who are offering you help. And volunteers are meaning good, but what they do in most of the times, they are bringing confusion, because very few are speaking in unison. Most of them, one is talking about one thing, another is talking about another thing, and fourth was talking about the fourth thing. And there are so many points that you got to address, and everybody is feeling that this is the most important thing. So the person who is finding themselves under this avalanche of information, plus they don't feel well, plus they're scared, plus they're really sometimes disappointed, mad, depressed, in denial, anything. It's very hard to navigate, and people, this is the life changes in one doctor's visit. You walk into the office, you do have your results from your tests, you know that you didn't feel well, you have a suspicion that something is wrong, but you more or less holding yourself together. And then doctor is telling you, yep, all results, everything is proving that you have diabetes. And this is like end of the life. And people leaving the room as a different person. And they suddenly feel everything. And they suddenly feel everything like under the magnetizing glass. And it's hard to handle. And a good situation, if you have a family member, your partner, or I don't know, maybe your kids, maybe your parents, who will be supporting you and helping you. But help is needed when it's asked for. So sometimes all I need is just let me talk it out. Don't try to feed me with a spoon. Or sometimes vice versa. Give me something to eat, because I don't want to do anything, but I know that I need to eat. So if you have a partner who is working with you, this is a good situation. But very often people, A, don't have a partner, B, partner doesn't understand what you're talking about, or busy with what they're doing, or sick with their own sicknesses. And there is also a situation when you just don't want to share with anybody. Don't want you kind of have a partner, but you don't want to show your weaknesses, to whatever. But so this is what I am about. I recognize all these issues because I've been through it. And I had a husband who was in denial, who didn't want to talk about it. I still don't know if he learned about it more than doctor said. I mean, we would go to the doctor's office. I would go with him every time because I needed education too. And I was luckily in a position to be able to go with him and maybe give doctor my observation of what is going on, because it's hard to see the picture when you're in a frame. So I could see what is happening to him, but he maybe will not notice it. And this is something that I lived through, and I know that there are some people like that out there. And this is what the entire program is. I'm taking people from diagnosis. We'll go through the analysis where they are. We'll find out what is happening. How do they feel? What do they know? Because this is very important to know what is that disease about. Where did you find this information, if you have any information? And then from there, we will be building up and making sure that creating new habits. We just spoke about new habits. Creating new habits, it's a process. It takes time. And if it requires to break yourself completely, change yourself completely, it's a struggle. And when it's struggle, it's often don't stick. You're going back to what you was. So it has to be gradual. It has to be more or less natural. And you have to learn to live with it and enjoy it and be happy that you have it. I'm talking about the habits. I'm talking about the habits. But I just recently heard somebody said that diabetes is not the diagnosis, it's a blessing, because that condition that you find yourself forces yourself to change your bad habits, to start living with the healthy habits. And then you get your diagnosis under control. You may reverse it so you don't have any effects from this disease, and you live a healthy life. You are more productive, you are happier, you're better looking, and everything is better. So depends how you look at it. It may be diagnosis. It's definitely not a sentence, and it may be a blessing.
I think that's tremendous. There's so many things I want to come back around and unpack in that. But first and foremost, mindset and the way that we frame things is so important, because just as you say, this can be the wake-up call that lets you change the trajectory of your life. Because if it wasn't this diagnosis of diabetes, it could have been heart disease. It could have been something else. It could have been something that, air quotes, lay dormant until an event happened that can be impossible to recover from. So this warning light, it can be a yellow light instead of a red light. It doesn't mean it's the end of life as you know it per se. It's that opportunity to change your habits, to take a closer look, and to discover what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Exactly.
I also think what you were saying about the gamut of emotions is so important, because, and I've heard this year as we're going through this experience of living with COVID and COVID fatigue, it's almost like we go through the process, the perhaps 7 stages of grief, right? Denial, recognition, mourning, all of those are a natural process of reckoning with a new situation. And they aren't linear. We're going to move through it. We're going to come back. We're going to have a good day and a bad day. We're going to feel hopeless. We're going to feel empowered. And we need to give ourselves the space, and the people that we love need to find a way to give ourselves that space so that we can move through it. Because when we stuff our emotions, that just adds to the load that we're carrying. So that doesn't really help anybody. And the third thing that I wanted to come back around to is what you said about everyone wants to help. We're very helping people on the whole. And we think that our ideas are the best ideas. And the thing that we just heard about is the most important, most correct, most, relevant information. And we push all of this on someone who their cup is already overflowing. They don't have room for, as well-meaning as that support is, it can be, just as you said, confusing, overwhelming. It can really set them off and even move people to not being open with you because they're afraid of that input when they can't handle it. It's hard enough, just as you lived, to be in the position of being the spouse, the partner, the caregiver, when you're trying to encourage someone to step into this new lifestyle and recognize that this is just an opportunity. It sounds a little optimistic, a little Pollyanna, but you can shift your perspective to see it as an opportunity to transform your health, as opposed to a term, a sentence, as you said also. And so I think it's so important that people just recognize that if someone you love or care about has a diagnosis like this, offering your support and being present is huge. Always recommended. Ask how you can support, but don't charge in with all the answers, everything, at the front. Sit back and see how you can show up and support the person you care about rather than overwhelming and being part of this that tends to send people kind of into seclusion. They tend to isolate themselves and throw the baby out with the bathwater, to use another old term. So it can be really overwhelming. So I love that you are in this position now after living this experience to help the families. But it seems most importantly, you really want to be able to connect with the person who's received this diagnosis and help them recognize the opportunities that they can find here.
Yes. Well, you see, I am kind of positioning myself into I don't know, phases. One phase is yes, you already have the diagnosis. You need help to navigate through this ocean of information and everything that is available that you find on the internet. We just spoke about people, but left alone the Facebook, the internet, and all this, how much information is there? Again, very controversial. Everything is not everything aligned with another. So you have to understand what exactly is good for you, because something that is good for one is not good for another. So this is one, the offer. This is the kind of the service that I'm offering. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. But the other one, and I think probably the most important one, is the importance of self-care, so you could avoid this situation altogether, because this is a lifestyle disease, lifestyle diagnosis, along with the high blood pressure, along with cardiovascular diseases, along with obesity. These are all lifestyle diseases that can be avoided. And I am a big advocate for active lifestyle, mindful feeding, eating, food selection, food choices, and that's my other phase that I like to show up with. These are my morning shows with. This is the prevention.
Terrific. Yes, you can find Irina on her Facebook page, Smart Move 360, and she is going live every day. She has been consistent since we went into this new lifestyle of 2020. Since March, she's been going live daily. So if you want to get little doses of inspiration and insights, I highly recommend it. We're going to have the link to her Smart Move 360 page in the show notes, so you can follow her there. And she also has an offer, a standing offer, but currently is really trying to connect with people with these recent diagnoses to get a broader point of view, to do a bit of market research, but to see where people are, what they are experiencing, in order to really address the situation and offer the most supportive tools. So you can also connect with her through her Facebook page to book a free strategy session, or to just, lend your own experience and information so that she can, as I'm saying, kind of aggregate and offer a more robust service, because this is such a widespread situation. And just as you were saying, Irina, about the lifestyle, I'm passionate about how stress affects people, and people are tuned into emotional stress, and it can also lay the foundation for diabetes. Cortisol messes with our blood sugar balance, which leads to that insulin resistance, which sets the stage. I mean, that's exactly where you need to be to get this diagnosis. And our environment has a huge impact, because the chemicals that we are experiencing in our environment, in our lifestyle, in our homes, in our cleaning products, again, start to undermine our overall health, so that these types of diseases, conditions can take root. And so it's so important to recognize that through lifestyle change, through changing our perception and the way that we approach things, through changing the way that we handle our stress, through changing the way that we shop and stock our cabinets and pantries, we can make big differences. And so too, I also wanted to talk about something that you've been offering, going on a couple of times this year, and coming up in the middle of October, you're going to share again your pantry challenge. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, this is a fun activity that I came up with, and I think this is it was useful for me because you see, we were stuck in the house for 6 months already, and for 6 months we were most of us, well, not most of us, for some of us were eating from home. Of course, there was still takeouts, there were some different drive-throughs, but for those of us who were staying in the house, cooking what we have in the house, and just in case shopping and supplying ourselves with different snacks and stuff, because, before I had to drive, and when I drive, I sometimes snack, but most of the times I just drive. But when you are sitting, you have this extra 40 minutes that you used to drive, and you were sitting all the time. Well, might as well just have a snack. So the amount of snacks in our pantry is very big now, and so I thought that it will be a good idea. We're changing the season. We're approaching the holiday seasons, to go through what we have, to see what we can use and what shouldn't be there, to verify how much of what we have, maybe something has to be replenished and something has to be thrown away. And also, while we're doing that, to learn about what we have. So we learn a little bit about reading the labels. We learn a little bit about fruits and veggies and different ways of keeping them, and a little bit about oils and different dry foods. So what is usually in our pantries, we are discussing, finding. I have a little kind of challenge homeworks. They're very simple. They're fun. I hope so. And I also showed different ways how you could store your supplies, so it will be easy for you to find it, and also know how much you have of it. So this is the challenge, and yes, we will be running it the third week of October, Monday through Friday, and it's just a quick video in the morning, then the homework, and then the live session in the evening, so we could discuss the findings of the day.
Terrific. And I really love these opportunities to take a little bit of a deep dive without drowning in information, and just everyday smart, actionable, attainable, time-sensitive goals. These SMART goals are what move us forward. When we give ourselves an assignment, I'm going to get all the junk out of my pantry. We put it off until we have a whole day to devote to putting it, getting that task accomplished. And we're very good at putting that off again and again and again. And I used to work with people to help them declutter and downsize their homes. And I would suggest to them when I met them right up front, just give yourself 30 minutes a day, an hour a day. If you're on a roll and you don't want to stop, then that's terrific. But schedule these little installments to make upgrades. and it will be much more achievable. And it won't be such a chore to make these changes. But just as you say, once you get the junk out of the pantry, once you see everything that you have there, and you're storing whole, healthier foods in a way that's going to keep them longer and more easily available, it's a total game changer. You change the way that you shop, you stop bringing these things into the house, and it's a little easier to resist, right? You're not always ignoring the potato chips or the cookies on the shelf. So that will also, people can connect with you through your Facebook page to learn more about the challenge, right? Great.
Yes, on my Smart Move 360, there will be a link to, because it's a special group. I don't want everybody to be flooded with our exercises, but you could go there, register for the challenge, and third week of October we'll meet there and we'll do the activities.
Excellent. I have a cabinet makeover that I do occasionally myself to tackle those cleaning products that we tend to let accumulate under the cabinet. So I really love making that, breaking that down into smaller installments so that people will actually take action and get things done. So I think that's terrific.
Yep.
And so what else would you like to share with us? I touched briefly earlier about how stress can impact our health and perhaps set the stage for diabetes. Is there a way that you love to address stress yourself?
Well, when we're talking about myself, I personally I used to be an athlete. So I used to do the cross-country skiing back in Russia. And in Atlanta, it's very hard to do the cross-country skiing. There is no snow. So I had to find the alternatives. And alternative was really jogging or walking. And I have a group of friends. We meet regularly and we do the walking. And with this, my new chapter that I started on the 26th of March, this every weekday, I would come outside and do my walk and I do my talk. It's just very short little speeches, updates, what's going on here in Atlanta. And I'm wearing my Fitbit. And I have on the phone the application that called Sweatcoin. So Sweatcoin was very fast. They reacted on quarantine and they did what Sweatcoin is. You walk, it counts your steps outside and it gives you, it transfers it into the sweat coins. And with those sweat coins that you accumulate, you could buy something. I mean, the can of tennis balls, maybe a 1 month subscription for audiobooks, or something like that. Of course, if you're a marathon runner, you could actually even win or purchase for yourself a ski vacation, because you're making much more steps than the regular person. So how did they react? They added one enhancement, 20 minutes boost. So instead of, you say you made 2,000 steps, instead of counting 2,000 steps, they will count 4,000 steps. So you can just forget it altogether. But for me, it was, hey, 20 minutes I can do. So since then, I'm walking every day 20 minutes. And I'm encouraging and this is what doctors are recommending, not the major activities where you have to, kill yourself. It's great once in a while if you're an athlete, but for everyday activities, you don't need to do much, but you need to do something. And 20 minutes is a good increment of time. Plus, you gain a little bit of sweat coins. And you could get something out of it. Well, what I did so far, I was just donating those sweat coins to different fundraisers and crowdfundings and stuff like that. So there is also an opportunity like this. But this is what I think. And plus, in addition to keeping blood running through your body, delivering oxygen to your brain, promoting the hormones of happiness, all these activities, it's when you did some exercise, especially in the morning, not necessarily strong exercise, but 20 minutes of activities. You start your morning, you already did something. and you're proud that you did put your sneakers on, you went out, you did 20 minutes, and this is a good thing. So it brings your mood up, not from the chemicals perspective, but just this is another thing to check out on your plan for the day. So you're already up here, and when you're in a good mood, it's much easier to attack the next challenge that you may be having during the daytime. So, and it helps you to stay with a smile through the day and see the good things in what are surrounding you, because they are there. Maybe they're hidden, maybe you have to force yourself to see them, but they're there. And when you are already, your chin is up, you see them easier. So this is about the mood control and about the stress control, the way how I do it for myself.
Yes, I agree completely. I think it's so important to embrace the exercise that you enjoy doing and not psych yourself out thinking you're just not up to the level of being a major athlete. Start where you are, start with 10 minutes a day, build to 20 minutes a day. And that's exactly the kind of exercise that breaks that cycle of stress, lifts your mood. And just like you say, you've got that feeling of accomplishment right out of the gate first thing in the morning. So it's such a powerful exercise. And I'm excited to hear about the Sweat Coin app. I'm going to check that out.
Okay.
I love it. I've been collecting fitness apps, and that one I had not come across, but even more so, I mean, first you can choose prizes after you reach certain milestones, but to be able to give back and support charities or crowdfunding projects, that's tremendous. So I'm excited to share that one too. Thanks for that great tip. Thank you so much, Irina. It's been such a treat to spend time with you today. I'm so glad that you joined us.
Well, as I said, I'm happy. First of all, I'm glad that you reached out and invited me. I'm really happy to meet with you and know you a little bit more and help you out in spreading a good information around. So this is all good. Thank you.
Oh, it is absolutely my pleasure. I love to share some time and space and help good people doing good work reach more people. So thank you for making time and joining me. Wishing you all
Absolutely.
The best. And I'll join you in
much,
October
Susan.
for your
Okay.
Pantry challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in today. Check out the show notes for any links we mentioned. To learn more about living life with less stress and more flow, visit happifiedlife.com. And if you found value in today's episode, make sure you subscribe to catch the next one and leave a review to help fellow pod surfers find Happified. Until next time, keep on shining.